If he desires riches, he must first be rich in consciousness. For example, a woman came to me asking treatment for prosperity. She did not take much interest in her household affairs. Her home was in great disorder. I said to her, if you wish to be rich, you must be orderly. All men with great wealth are orderly. Order is heaven's first law. I added, you will never become rich with a burnt match in the pincushion. She had a good sense of humor and commenced immediately putting her house in order. She rearranged furniture, straightened out bureau drawers, cleaned rugs, and soon made a big financial demonstration, a gift from a relative. The woman herself became made over, keeps herself keyed up financially by being ever watchful of the external and expecting prosperity, knowing God is her supply. Many people are in ignorance of the fact that gifts and things are investments, that hoarding and saving invariably lead to loss. There is that scattereth, this is a quote from the Bible, there is that scattereth and yet increaseth. There is that withholdeth more than is meet. It tendeth to poverty. This section is saying, if he desires riches, he must first be rich in consciousness. That means that you have to take care of yourself. Let's see. You have to take care of yourself and your house. Cleaning your house and taking care of things is something I learned later in life, to be honest. This morning, I felt so productive. I cleaned my cat's water dish. I folded my laundry. I was like, it feels so good to just be like, just doing the basic maintenance things. To be honest, it's easy to get out of the habit if you're tired or depressed, for me at least. But you can't actually, if you're not taking care of the vessel which holds the wealth, which is you. For example, I knew a man who wanted to buy a fur-lined coat. He and his wife went to various shops. There was none he wanted. He said they were all too cheap looking. At last he was shown one the salesman said was valued at $1,000, but which the manager would sell him for $500 as it was late in the season. His financial possessions amounted to about $700. The reasoning mind would have said, you can't afford to spend nearly all you have on a coat. He was very intuitive and never reasoned. He turned to his wife and said, if I get this coat, I'll make a ton of money. His wife consented weakly. About a month later, he received a $10,000 commission. The coat made him feel so rich. It linked him with success and prosperity. Was that dress for success? Without the coat, he would not have received the commission. It was an investment paying large dividends. If man ignores these leadings to spend or to give, the same amount of money will go in an uninteresting or unhappy way. Let's see. So buying an expensive coat is, we might not say a wise decision, but what she's saying is he knew he'd already done the inner work. So he knew that the coat wasn't just like something he wanted. He was already aligned enough to know that the coat was a symbol, a key to his wealth. It's not to say just go out and buy a nice bag or a fancy dress, unless it's definitely not impulse shopping. It's definitely like praying on it, meditating about it, not even about it, just meditate and pray to receive God's guidance. That way you can be clear enough to know whether it's ego or intuition where you're making the decision. For example, where are we at? We're up here. For example, a woman told me on Thanksgiving Day she informed her family they could not afford a Thanksgiving dinner. She had the money but decided to save it. A few days later, someone entered her room and took from the bureau drawer the exact amount dinner would have cost. The law always stands back of the man who spends fearlessly with wisdom. The law always stands behind the man who spends fearlessly with wisdom, meaning that not impulsively buying the right things, spending your money wisely. For example, one of my students was shopping with her little nephew. The child clamored for a toy, which she told him she could not afford to buy. She realized suddenly that she was seeing lack and not recognizing God as her supply. So she bought the toy, and on her way home, picked up in the street the exact amount of money she had paid for it. Man's supply is inexhaustible. Oh, I love that. It's basically saying, like, there's always enough money. Man's supply is inexhaustible and unfailing when fully trusted. Faith or trust must precede the demonstration. According to your faith, be it unto you. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. For faith holds the vision steady. The adverse pictures are dissolved and dissipated in due season. In due season we shall reap if we faint not. Those are confusing passages. But essentially, whether or not you have money, no matter what your income is, or even if you have an income, faith, like believing that if you hold in your mind, I'm poor, then that's faith that you live in lack. You're trusting that you don't have enough. The idea, which has taken me years actually to get out of the poverty mindset, the idea that you do have enough. Just have faith, even if it doesn't feel like you do have enough. Just have faith that you do have enough. Why not? It doesn't hurt just to let that burden go, that you're in lack. Just have faith that you have enough. Eventually, you'll start to see that you do. I know this from experience. Let's see. Jesus brought the good news, the gospel, that there was a higher law than the law of karma. That law transcends the law of karma. It is the law of grace or forgiveness. It is the law which frees man from the law of cause and effect, the law of consequence, under grace and not under law. We are told that on this plane man reaps where he has not sown. The gifts of God are simply poured out upon him. All that the kingdom affords is his. This continued state of bliss awaits the man who has overcome the race or world thought. Who has overcome thought. You have to overcome your thoughts of lack, your thoughts of struggle. When you have those, just tell them, thank you. I don't need you anymore. In the world thought, there is tribulation. That means trials, difficulties. Jesus said, be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. The world thought is, I think when they say world, it means like the material world. Like the world thought is that of, The world thought is that of sin, sickness, and death. He saw their absolute unreality and said, sickness and sorrow shall pass away, death itself, the last enemy, be overcome. We now know from a scientific standpoint that death could be overcome by stamping the subconscious mind with conviction of eternal youth and eternal life. The subconscious, being simply power without direction, carries out orders without questioning. And it's just repeating the same idea that we think of sin, sickness, and death as real. It's the constant focus on it is the problem. It says we now know from a scientific standpoint, you can reprogram your subconscious mind to not dwell on these things, and their power over you disappears.